Can anyone beat Carlos? Alcaraz just too good.
Thank God for Carlos Alcaraz. At this age, I've never seen a player this good, this complete.
The tennis world is currently grappling with a terrifying realization that experts and opponents alike are finally beginning to voice. Carlos Alcaraz is no longer just competing against his peers. He is dismantling their very intentions before they can even be manifested on the court. This psychological and tactical dominance reached a fever pitch at the 2026 Australian Open, where Alcaraz performed the unthinkable by unseating the 10-time champion, Novak Djokovic. After dropping the opening set, Alcaraz didn't just fight back. He systematically deconstructed the greatest hardcourt player in history, ending the match with a 6-2, 6-3, 7-5 run that felt more like a clinical execution than a sporting contest. This followed a grueling, historic semifinal against Alexander Zverev, where Alcaraz stared down a match point at 3-5 in the fifth set, only to see a path that existed for no one else, clawing back to win a 5-hour and 27-minute marathon. By the time he reached Doha and secured his 10th consecutive win of 2026 against Karen Khachanov, his exhausted opponent could only plead across the net for him to get tired just once. The sheer impossibility of his coverage and anticipation has led many to wonder if Alcaraz is literally reading minds, or if something far more dangerous is happening. When players like Taylor Fritz or Daniil Medvedev step onto the court, they arrive with meticulously crafted blueprints, yet they quickly find that Alcaraz has already made a reservation at the exact spot their best shot was intended to land. He doesn't scramble, he recalibrates mid-match with a terrifying lack of stress, moving as if the rally has already played out in his mind and he is simply acting out the inevitable conclusion. This phenomenon prompted icons like Andre Agassi to weigh in, with the 8-time major winner noting that Alcaraz possesses the touch of Federer, the defensive wall of Djokovic, and the heavy topspin of Nadal, all synthesized into a single 23-year-old frame. Agassi pointed out a chilling paradox. Alcaraz often has so many options and weapons that he hasn't even decided which one to use yet, making it impossible for an opponent to read his body language. How can you predict a move that the mover himself hasn't chosen? 7-time Grand Slam champion Mats Wilander took this further, claiming that Alcaraz's style is so unique it cannot even serve as a role model. While one can replicate Jannik Sinner's relentless baseline consistency through hard work, Alcaraz's game is an instinctual, nonlinear system that cannot be mapped by analytics or taught in any academy. He operates at a speed below conscious thought, responding to an opponent's response before that response has even occurred. This is why Medvedev famously lamented that no neutral ball exists against him. Alcaraz denies the reset, forcing opponents like Alex de Minaur into a desperate hunt for the lines until they collapse under the weight of low-percentage errors.
Alcaraz is a joke right now.
Unbelievable. I think he's playing like Federer,
Yeah.
but more physical.
Yeah, so that's what I say. I think he's got a bit of Nadal, Federer, and Novak. He's got all three. He plays like Federer a little bit.
Yeah.
Physicality of Nadal, and then he entertains a little bit like he's got that. I don't know. He's got confidence like Novak. He's gonna. I think he could get 15 slams.
I think so too.
As the 2026 season progresses, we are witnessing a shift from a Big Three era to a singular one dominance that defies the logic of professional development. The narrative surrounding Alcaraz has moved past mere athleticism into the realm of the metaphysical. In the corridors of the ATP, coaches are reportedly holding emergency sessions just to discuss the Alcaraz lag, the split-second delay between an opponent's action and Alcaraz's preemptive reaction. At the 2026 Miami Open, analysts noted that Alcaraz's winning percentage on points where he was initially out of position was higher than most players' percentages when they were in control. This suggests that out of position is a state that simply does not apply to him. His elasticity and spatial awareness allow him to treat the entire court as his primary hitting zone. Even the psychological warfare has evolved. During the trophy ceremony in Doha, after he demolished Arthur Fils in just 50 minutes, the conversation wasn't about the scoreline, but about the ghosting effect. The way Alcaraz seems to vanish from one side of the court and reappear on the other before the ball has even crossed the net. This isn't just speed, it's a mastery of kinetic energy and geometry. Analysts like Brad Gilbert have pointed out that while traditional champions like Sampras or Lendl relied on a plan A that was better than everyone else's, Alcaraz's plan A is actually an infinite loop of improvisations. He is the first player in the history of the sport to use the drop shot not as a change of pace, but as a primary offensive weapon that creates a state of permanent approach anxiety in his opponents. When he steps up to a short ball, the opponent's brain has to process 3 separate threats simultaneously: a 105 miles per hour forehand, a cross-court flick, or a dead-end drop shot that stops on a dime. By the time the human nervous system has cycled through these possibilities, the point is over. The internal pressure this creates is why we see world-class players like Holger Rune or Casper Ruud making unforced errors on mid-court balls they would normally hit in their sleep. They aren't missing the court. They are missing the ghost of Alcaraz. Furthermore, the 22-6 statistics reveal a staggering trend in expected winners versus actual winners. Against any other top 10 player, a 95 miles per hour inside-out forehand to the corner has an 88% chance of ending the point. Against Alcaraz, that same shot results in a winning counterpunch for the Spaniard 42% of the time. This statistical anomaly has forced the analytics teams of Sinner and Medvedev to go back to the drawing board. They are no longer looking for weaknesses, because weaknesses implies a structural flaw. Instead, they are searching for glitches, tiny windows of time where Alcaraz might be human. But as 22-6 unfolds, those windows are closing. His serve, once considered the only average part of his game, is now clocking in at a consistent 128 miles per hour with a kick that mirrors the height of peak John Isner. He has become a serve and volleyer when he wants to be, a baseline grinder when he needs to be, and a defensive wall when he's bored. The most frightening prospect for the rest of the tour is that Alcaraz seems to be getting younger in spirit as he gets older in experience.
I think Alcaraz will get the number because I don't think there are as many good players. Like when Federer, Nadal and Djokovic were getting the slams, there were more outside players that could beat them, you know? Like there were more dangerous players. I don't think Sinner and Alcaraz can lose to anyone. Like maybe Novak, maybe like, not in best of 5.
I agree.
I
agree with you 100%.
Because there's no serve bots anymore too. Like there's no like Karlovic or like Isner, you know? Like maybe Pericard, but I don't know. I can't see Alcaraz or Sinner losing.
Sinner is so consistent in everything he's doing. That's unbelievable. The guy doesn't miss one ball.
Yeah, and he's always in position for everything.
Always.
His joy on the court is a weapon in itself. While others are sweating and grimacing, he is smiling at the sheer absurdity of his own shots. This joy is infectious to the crowd, but poisonous to the opponent, who feels as though their life's work is being treated as a casual game of catch. In the locker rooms, the chatter is no longer about how to beat him, but how to survive him. The 2026 season is becoming a study in human limits, and Carlos Alcaraz is the one pushing the boundary. He has effectively ended the era of tactical tennis and replaced it with reflexive tennis, where the only way to compete is to stop thinking entirely. But as Agassi warned, when you stop thinking against Alcaraz, you've already lost, because he's been playing without thinking since he was 6 years old. He is the master of the subconscious court, a player who has turned the most difficult sport in the world into a playground where he is the only one who knows where the equipment is hidden. As we look toward the clay season, the question is no longer about the surface. Alcaraz has proven that his feet don't care if they are on hard court grass or red dirt. He is surface agnostic, a biological machine designed to put a yellow ball where you aren't. If 2025 was the year of the Sin Cara's rivalry, 2026 is shaping up to be the year of the Alcaraz monopoly. Every tournament is a foregone conclusion wrapped in a 3-set highlight reel. The tennis world is watching, waiting and hoping for a miracle. But for now, the only thing certain is that when the ball leaves your racket, Carlos Alcaraz is already there, waiting for it with a smile.
Oh my God, what are we gonna do? These 3 guys are finished.
The burgeoning dominance of Carlos Alcaraz in 2206 has transcended the typical boundaries of sports analysis, moving into a space where the psychological burden on his opponents is arguably more devastating than his physical prowess. After his historic victory at the 2026 Australian Open, where he became the youngest man to complete a career Grand Slam by dismantling Novak Djokovic, the locker room consensus has shifted from strategic hope to a resigned sense of inevitability. What makes Alcaraz truly terrifying in this calendar year is not just the 128 miles per hour serve, a shot he redesigned in the offseason to mimic the clinical precision of Djokovic himself, but his ability to win ugly when the spectacular isn't required. In Melbourne, experts noted a startling shift in his metrics. He increased his backhand cross-court frequency to 74% in the latter stages of the final, effectively putting the match into a defensive lockdown that even the greatest returner in history could not penetrate. This capacity for gritty pragmatism means that Alcaraz has closed the only door his rivals had left open. Previously, one might hope he would beat himself with high-risk errors. Now, as Andy Roddick recently observed, that conversation is 18 months outdated. He is simply dominant, possessing a baseline consistency that rivals the peak years of the Big Three, while maintaining an explosive ceiling that none of them quite touched. At age 23, this evolution was on full display in Doha, where he steamrolled a red-hot Arthur Fils in just 50 minutes. a match so one-sided that Phil's openly admitted in the trophy ceremony that Alcaraz was operating on a level where tactical preparation felt like a futile exercise. The statistical anomalies are staggering. In 22-6, Alcaraz is winning nearly 70% of total points in finals, a number that defies the parity usually expected at the elite level of the ATP Tour. Even his primary rival, Jannik Sinner, has been forced into a state of constant adaptation, with coaches Darren Cahill and Simone Vagnozzi desperately trying to inject more multidimensional variants into Sinner's game just to keep pace with Alcaraz's instinctual improvisations. The problem, as Mats Wilander pointed out, is that Alcaraz isn't following a blueprint. He is the blueprint. While you can train a player to replicate Sinner's relentless timing or Djokovic's sliding defense, you cannot teach a human being to possess Alcaraz's reflexive future mapping, where he responds to a shot before the opponent's brain has even fully committed to the swing. This was evident during a semifinal escape against Alexander Zverev, where down match point, Alcaraz didn't play the percentage shot. He played the shot that the geometry of the court shouldn't have allowed, a dipping, short-angle pass that effectively broke Zverev's spirit for the remainder of the set. Beyond the physical, there is the smiling assassin element that is uniquely 2026 Alcaraz. He carries a champion's presence that radiates a terrifying lack of stress, moving through 5-hour marathons with the levity of a practice session. This joy is a psychological sledgehammer. It tells the man across the net that while they are suffering through the hardest physical ordeal of their life, Alcaraz is having the time of his life. As the tour moves toward the clay season, the Alcaraz meta is expected to shift again. Having already improved his forehand spin rate by 10% over the last year, he is now generating a heavy ball that makes traditional clay court grinding impossible for his opponents. Analysts like Brad Gilbert are calling it the Monopoly era, a period where the tournament draw is essentially a battle for second place.
Alcaraz has said chess helps him stay focused and make faster decisions during matches.
Alcaraz badly wanted to win, wanted to come out and penetrate the court enough, and he has that kind of confidence in his game.
The question for the rest of 2026 isn't whether someone can find a flaw in his technique. His newly upright service motion and tightened backhand have virtually eliminated those, but whether anyone can survive the mental exhaustion of playing a man who is already waiting for you at the finish line before you've even started the race. With every win, the gap between Alcaraz and the rest of the world isn't just growing. It is becoming a chasm that suggests we aren't just watching a great player, but perhaps the final evolution of the sport itself. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. See you in the next one.